ago, Toby made a post about Deltarune localization in Japanese. We all know that if it was for him, the game would be only in Japanese, and seeing how intense the western side of the fandom can be at times, I don't really blame him. But regardless, here we see a conversation with Sean and Chris where he's about to reveal the true purpose of the Shadow Crystals, and the reason why the Lightners are collecting them.
Chris, I suppose I owe you an explanation about all this. You no doubt have realized yourself by now. The Shadow Crystals are far more than mere pieces of glass. In actuality, they contain a certain power. You could call this the power of will. No, perhaps will isn't right. The power they contain is...
And we all know what this is referring to, right? What other synonym more than determination could that be? But wait, is it that simple? The power of the Shadow Crystals is determination? But thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense. But okay, what is determination exactly? To answer that, we need to get back to Undertale. So, first of all, we know that determination in this game is a reality-bending power that only humans seem to wield, or is especially wielded by humans. A power that was used by the humans to exile the monsters to the underground. Thanks to the anniversary stream, we know that it wasn't as one-sided as we thought before, but the humans had a clear advantage over the monsters, and that's thanks to determination. Now, it's funny seeing Undertale's take on a magic system. All monsters have magic, powerful magic at that, but they themselves don't harbor all the powers humans do. Since Undertale monsters lack a soul. Well, I guess we shouldn't say that they lack a soul. Some players' first experiences is realizing we broke Toriel's heart. We broke her soul. And without that faint and pale soul to keep her monster body together, she turns to dust, even though she is a monster boss. The same happens with almost everything we encounter in the underground. But humans are built different. Arguably, the monsters are made of magic. That explains how Grillby is able to keep his form and the Temis don't choke in their own saliva. And despite all of this, the powerful source of magic in this universe are, you guessed it, human souls. The barrier could have been broken with just one human soul. I mean, that's exactly what Asriel did. The almighty barrier that kept the whole monster kingdom and guess what else dives in the bowels of Mount Ebott was temporarily vanished by one human child's soul. That's the pure energy of the soul. I just wanted to clear that up. Humans are batteries. Super batteries. Hell, they are the energy keeping this universe century from devouring itself. Need I remind you that Asriel was able to collapse the whole timeline with less than 10 souls? But monsters are not meant to wield this power. For whatever reason, this force of will, this desire to achieve their goals, it's almost absent in most monsters. Or, well, most monsters are not meant to hold this power. Two of the few monsters that break this rule without resorting to human souls are Undyne and, well, Sans. We'll talk about him in a moment. During the genocide route before defeating Undyne, she fills herself with courage. She knows the whole underground is counting on her to stop Kara. She transforms into Undyne the Undying, but in the end of that timeline we know she fails. The thing is, Undyne doesn't turn to dust. She melts, just like the amalgams of the True Lab. The general consensus is that Undyne went to Alphys for a small determination boost before fighting the player. She is the only monster that literally melts before being defeated. And should I remind you what the amalgams experiments were meant to accomplish? To bring monsters back from the death using their own will. But will itself is not enough to full death. Asriel was only capable of taking the form of Flowey thanks to a few things. His remains being mixed with Kara's spirit infusing him, and a bit of artificial determination to the mix. This created the creature we know as Flowey. This also explains why the innocent and kind Asriel Dreamer became a sociopath. That's not his personality, nor his will. That is what's left of Kara's will. Another human child with a determined soul. But how about Sans? He remembers what happens in other timelines. That means that he also has some kind of determination, right? Well, maybe. Just like Asriel, he knows what happened in previous timelines. He's also very powerful, but where did he get all this power? I'm one of the firm believers that something else experimented with Sans, wink wink, and he became aware of previous timelines and also gave him an army of skull blasters, wink wink. But on his own, I wouldn't say that Sans is determined. He's lazy, almost nihilistic, but can you blame him? He knows that nothing he does matters, and in the end, it all will be resetted by the whims of an otherworldly being taking the form of a human child. Maybe Sans uses another kind of determination. Maybe he just has this kind of higher knowledge, wink wink. Maybe he has a very good body cam and that's why he remembers previous timelines. Or maybe he's not even from Undertale. I made a video a while ago covering that, but that's not important right now. In any case, he is determined to stop the player. And you know what other cold color-coded, short-heighted, ever-smiling, powerful fool who acts like nothing matters is also related to determination? Now we're back with Deltarune. Knowing all that we now know about determination was important for the Shadow Crystals. If the Shadow Crystals are determination or a variation of determination, that means that all of the secret bosses or meant to be secret bosses are also related to determination. We know that Shadow Crystals are an object of obsession, and or what turns the secret bosses mad. Jewel met certain someone, wink wink, that showed him that this card kingdom, his people, the darkness, and all he's ever known is just someone else's creation. He's extremely powerful, a prankster, and the player amuses him. We technically never get to defeat him properly. Some of you may already be familiar with the theory that Deltarune is just an inverse AU. This determination also adds to that. King is the Deltarune mirror of Asgore. And who is Asgore's fool? Who is the boss that cannot be fight without doing a very specific thing? The thing being a genocide route, but regardless. That Sans, of course, the fool. He who's self-aware that all of his world is just a lie, a figment of imagination, and that nothing he does matters in the end. Okay, with that in mind, who is the next boss? Spamton. Where does his determination come from? The Shadow Crystal, the thing that showed him a way to achieve heaven. Well, Cyberworld Mirror is the core, and the core final boss is Mettaton. Do you see the pattern here? Jewel's determination is similar to that of Sans, and Spamton's determination, or well, his Shadow Crystal, was created by a Lightner who shares his same determination. Spamton wanted to be a big shot, Mettaton wanted to be a superstar, he wanted to be famous. And Deltarune's Mettaton created Spamton's suit in paint, but all of this is thanks to his will. His wish. The concept of wishes, dreams, and determination are very intertwined with the Dark World. People's minds and souls give shape to this fantasy. So, this determination from Ghost Mettaton reached Spamton in the form of the Shadow Crystal. Here, the determination comes from a Lightner, and as we mentioned previously, determination is a tool to shape reality. And in Deltarune's case, determination shapes the Dark World. But what if this determination has to come from a Lightner? Spamton's crystal comes from Mettaton. But wait, who's the holder of the crystal of TV World? Who is supposed to be secret boss? That'll be Ramp. And Ramp and Alphys, the Lightner equivalent of Undertale, is somewhat similar to Ramp. Both Ramp and Alphys know a secret to trick the antagonists of the chapter. Both antagonists are a TV host, both levels are TV related, and in both cases Alphys and Ramp are left aside. One literally runs out of magic. Both of them want to help the player, but originally, this determination that was given to them was meant to stop the player. Alphys was meant to stop Frisk, and Ramp was supposed to be the secret boss of this chapter, until the Roaring Knight took matters in their own hands. And speaking of which, there are a lot of similarities between the determination experiments from the lab and the Roaring Knight, and whether you want to believe the Knights to be Tess or any other member of the Holiday family, they are clad in determination, dark determination. It doesn't matter if that determination is his own, and when we manage to make a dent on their armor, some of that will is given to us, the player. So, now to the next crystal. The Dark Mirror of the Sanctuary is Waterfall, of course. We face the Night of Justice, and during the charge adventure it's raining someplace. The level is Freshwater Team, and there's also a grumpy puppet that just wants to be left alone. I don't think it's very hard to point out who's the Lightner which the Shadow Crystal from Chapter 4 belongs to. It's Undyne, of course. Her and Gerson are the Knights of Justice, they have the determination of a hero, and both help the player to get stronger in a real way. While the pure determination, the light determination from Undertale, is seen as a positive attribute that was mishandled by some characters, Deltarune is the complete opposite. This dark determination is used for bad purposes. It's the power to mold reality, to mold the dark world for selfish ends. Knowing all that, what about Chapter 5? We know Asgore has a Shadow Crystal, but if we follow the pattern, then something or someone related to Papyrus has to be Chapter 5's secret boss. And to be honest, it could be anything. As we saw with Alphys and Ramp, it doesn't have to be that literal, but adding to the pattern, Asgore's garden is going to be a warm garden, maybe a summer garden, to contrast with the autumn feel of the festival. But why am I that sure? Undertale's level temperature goes from colder to warmer, from taiga to river to volcano and to a reactor. And although Deltarune is Undertale in reverse, the temperature map stays the same. If the player chooses not to freeze the cyber world, Chris will leave the front door open, and the living room will be filled with snow. The sanctuary and waterfall is where we reach room temperature, but even then, I'll argue that the sanctuary feels warmer thematically than waterfall. So chapter 5 will definitely look like a warm and sunny garden. But wait, we know that Asgore is not the only person plotting something for chapter 5, whose determination might be similar to Papyrus, to connect or, in this case, to reconnect with the player, with Chris, to remind him of the good times they spent together. That's why he wants to create this garden. That sure will bring some memories, but as we know, there are a few things that Chris would prefer to stay in the past. Something dark, lurking over the garden's walls. If Asgore ends up being the determination boss, playing a role similar to Papyrus, it is possible that Carol will act as a secondary antagonist. She wanted Chris to go to the festival with Noelle. Besides, a nice witch being the boss of a summer garden, defying its legit ruler, the Flower King, is somewhat fitting for the game. Or who knows, maybe Papyrus will finally appear in chapter 5 and he'll be the literal determination boss. And one last thing I want to mention is, what are the crystals for? They are crystallized determination. Now we know that Guster was dealing with other kinds of experiments. We know that the crystals will be used to craft a sword. A twisted sword. What if this twisted sword looks like a flower stem? Like a vine? Think about it. If those crystals are determination and we are meant to craft something out of pure determination, what better to represent a sword of determination than the flower that was born from determination? The flowy sword, if you may. But anyways, that might be it for today. I really hope you liked the video, guys, and if that's the case, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. That really helps me and the channel. I know I've been missing for a while, but I've been working on a small project and really looking for voice actors. It's something related to Lego, more or less. I'm looking for a female voice and an evil Dark Lord voice. 2 voices, actually. If any of you are interested, here in the description I'll leave the casting call and all my socials. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time.